Our project is on predicting methodology for diabetic data analysis in big data. In developing healthcare industries, move towards the processing huge health records and for their values and executing, and it is increasing their complexities. Due to the growing unstructured nature of the big data in healthcare industry, so it is necessary for a structure and alter its size into minimal value as much as it's possible. Diabetic mellitus occurs when the blood glucose, also known as blood sugar, is too high. In this our project, we use the predictive methodologies such as decision tree, k nearest neighbor, support vector mission algorithms, and ensemble algorithms such as random forest to predict the diabetic accuracies. Our aim of the project is to analyze and compare between the existing methods and the proposed methods and to show the high accuracy. Our scope is to produce better result compared with the existing system and to predict the accuracy high. We use big data techniques we can so that able to reduce the processing time of data sets. In the hospitalizations, the treatment in hospitals and digitalization of world likes to have the computerized data rather than hard copy form. And day by day, the healthcare industry is increasing, and the doctor's prescriptions, diagnostic reports, pharmacy information, etc. All these were also developing, and all these information collectively forms the big data in healthcare. And by employing the analysis of big data, we can produce predicted results for understanding the tendency and improve the healthcare and the life expectancy. And we can give proper treatment at the early stages at low cost. Diabetic mellitus is one of the non-communicable diseases, and it is a major health hazard, and it's developing in the developing countries like India. And predicting analysis is a method that uses variety of techniques from data mining, statistics, and machine learning that uses the current and past data with statistical or other analytical models and methods and to determine and predict certain future events. We have taken some of the journals, and our first journal name is Prediction of Diabetics, empowered with fused machine learning. And the authors were U. Ahmed, Issei Muhammad Khan. In this, they have used KNN and artificial neural network algorithms to detect the diabetics in female patients. And these algorithms are used to detect the diabetes. And the second journal name is Predictive Modeling and Analytical for Diabetics using Machine Learning Approach, and the authors were Helen Kaur, Minita Kumari. In this, they use support vector machine and artificial neural network to detect the first step of diabetics. And the outputs of these two models will send as an input to fuzzy model, and the output of this model is used to analyze the dataset whether the person have diabetic or not. Our third journal name is Decision Support System for Diabetics Prediction using Machine Learning Techniques. And the authors were Jamili, Rashid, so on. And in this paper, they have developed a model in which they have used three algorithms like SVM, random forest, KNN. and they use it to research to predict whether a person is diabetic or not. To predict the best accuracy, they experimentally experiments 10 times and they have ticked the average and they have been taken for the accuracy among all the experiments. In the collection of data set, it is used to predict the diabetics in our proposed system that uses the data set as input. And for training and testing, the machine learning model needed appropriate data set with necessary features. The prediction accuracy has been increased by selecting the appropriate and concerned features from the data set. Dataset is consists of several features such as number of pregnancies, glucose, blood pressure, skin thickness, insulin, BMI, age. In the KNN algorithm, which means K nearest neighbor algorithm, it is a supervised machine learning algorithm that can be used for classification as well as for regression problems. It is also known as lazy learner and it uses all data training while classifying the data. And it looks for the similar features between the new data and the data present in the past. New data point is classified upon the similarities of the features present in the data. Algorithm does not learn from the trained data. Direct action is performed on the dataset. Dataset is stored and when the new data is fed to the algorithm, new data is classified to that category which is more similar to that. SVM algorithm, which is known as support vector mission, is one of the most popular supervised learning algorithms and it is used for classification as well as regression problems. Primarily, it is used for classification problems in machine learning and it can determine outcome about the diabetics based on which side of the boundary that the data falls on. The goal of the SCM algorithm is to create the baseline or decision boundary that can segregate n-dimensional space into classes so that we can easily put the new data in the current category in the future. And this is the best decision boundary and it is called hyperplane. In this we have used Jupyter network and it is like an open source web application that allows us to save and create the documents which contain live code, equations, visualizations and narrative text. It can be used for data cleaning, transformation, numerical simulation, statistical model, data visualization, machine learning. Coming to the implementation, this is the architecture diagram of our project and data flow diagram. In this, first of all, we collect the data and we pre-process the data and we split the data into the training data and testing data. And further, we apply the algorithms to predict the diabetic accuracies. And this is the ER diagram. Coming to tests, we have conducted several testing like unit testing, integration testing, functional, white box and black box. Coming to unit testing, it is intended to check the tiny items of a practically instead of the system as an entire. It will be performed from very cheap up, beginning with smallest and lowest level modules and continue one at a time. The code will be split into small box and it will check the code in it. Integration testing is the second level of testing and it will be done after unit testing. And it is a software testing that use individual modules and combine to the test whether they are working properly or not. And the main objective of integration testing It is to check whether the interface between the modules present or not. Coming to functional testing, it is a type of software testing that validates the software system against the functional requirements and specifications. The purpose of the functional testing is to test each functions of the software application by providing appropriate input, verifying the output against the functional requirements. This testing is done by passing different kinds of input to check whether it's produced accepted or appropriate output or not. White box testing is also a software testing technique in which internal structure design and coding of software are tested to verify the flow of input and output and to improve the design usability and security. Here the internal structure and the connection among all the modules are tested for flow of input and output is tested. Black box testing is a method in which the functionalities of a software applications are tested without having the knowledge of the internal code structure and implementation details are internal parts. This testing is done to check by giving input and producing the output. And the conclusion of our project is classification of diabetics is critical step in diabetics prevention and management in healthcare. However, detecting diabetics from the data set is much more effective in terms of diabetes management. And our suggested technique improves the diagnostic accuracy and is very beneficial for further therapy. And this is the code of our project. In this, first we inserted our data into the Jupyter. This is our data set that we have inserted in the Jupyter. And further, we have trained and tested the data set. After that, we have implemented algorithms like decision tree algorithm and this is the decision tree and dictionary classifier and random forest classifier, KNN and SVM. And we have got accuracy in much in KNN compared to other algorithms. We have got 0.78 in KNN compared to other. We have got SVM accuracy only 0.33. And we also increase the parameters like we have find out the precision and recall in our code. Thank you.